Buenas, buenas. Welcome to Music Marketing TV. I'm Kevin Ochoa, and today I'm going to teach you how to create 303 inspired acid lines using reveals on Spire. So let's take a listen. Okay, so those are some very happy acid lines. Anyhow, so the whole mystique around the 303 is the filter. The filter is always what gets everybody. And without that filter, every emulation of the 303 does not work. Fortunately, Spire has a really good emulation of that filter inside their bank right here. It's called Acido, acid in Spanish. And there's 4 different filters you can use. The filter inside the 303 is based on an 18 dB per octave filter. So you can select from these 4 filters to see which one you like the best. In this case, I use 2, but 3 is also really good. And then after the filter, many producers would distort the sound and just demolish it. The other mystique of the 303 is its ARP. Well, not really ARP, it's sequencer. And it also had gliding and such effects. And we're going to learn how to make all that inside Spire. So I'm going to open up a new Spire instance. I'm going to copy the MIDI and paste it over to this one. I'm going to pause this, but I'm also going to use this original preset as a reference because I cannot come up with the sequence that quickly for during a video. So here I have a blank slate, a saw wave. However, the 303, that sound really comes from a square wave most of the time. So I'm gonna press Control A and bring that up to create a square wave. And I'm also gonna make this square wave imperfect because no analog wave is perfect. So I'm gonna distort it, change it a little, instead of having straight up a square wave. So I'm gonna use that, and then now what I want to do is go to the filter and use the Acido and increase the resonance on that. And immediately we start having these really smooth harmonics pushed up. And I'm going to distort it from the get-go. But I'm also going to increase its low cut because unique to Spire is this low cut feature, which lets frequencies that are low not affect the distortion. So that means that where you don't have these extra harmonics created by the low frequencies. Okay, now that we have that, I'm going to go into the ARP. We could also remove this thing. However, I'm actually using it in the patch by accident, so I'm going to keep it there. I'm going to keep that default envelope that Spire has on the filter because I left it there by accident. So I'm going to go into this ARP. Now, the way ARPs work is they chop up sections of audio, and they very quickly, you could think about it like a really quick LFO. I'm going to turn it on. As you can hear, it's all playing just one note. However, you can really change this. There's different modes inside here that you can have them work. For this specific section, we want to talk about the step. The step allows you to write every single note manually. I'm also going to remove the octave so we have complete control over the sound. So, for example, if I want this right here, now I have complete control over the notes that I want that ARP to play. So I'm going to select that, and I'm also going to control the velocity so I can give this swing. So I'm going to turn off all these second and fourth steps so that I don't have a straight firing machine gun. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually open this up, copy over the notes. So just bear with me. I'll actually speed this up. Okay, so now I'm done creating the sequence. One thing I want to mention is that this sequence is really based on the fourth. So if we go up 5 semitones, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're using the fourth of E, so we are using A a lot. And we're also using the 10th, so we're using D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're using those 2 notes along with the root note in the sequence, and which is really important because that will let you know if your melody, your sequence is really dark or happy. In this case, it sounds very happy. Now that we have the sequence, we want to do one more thing that's really important to the 303 sound, and that's creating this sound. Did you guys hear that? Play it again. Yes, the little squeals. Those are created by using glide notes. So right here, I'm going to select all these to glide. What that means is that instead of playing these two notes, it's going to glide into them. So I'm going to select all these on, as I did in the original sequence. And I'm going to bring that cutoff down. There we go. I'm going to push up that volume so we have a little bit more gain. Let's take note that this sequence is at 1/16 before we step over to the stepper. And we're going to select the stepper to be 1/16 so it's in time with our ARP. Now, I need to bring this back up. So as you can see here, this stepper looks drastically different from this one. That's because we have complete control over what we want to do with each individual step. So I'm just going to grab these little nodes and bring them down quickly. They're really small, so you have to really get them. There you go. Boom, bam. And the last one, I want to do something a little bit different. Instead of having that, I'm going to select 2x, and now we have 2 waves. That's one of the features that you can do with this stepper. And the next thing you want to do is reverse them. You could also have the option to manipulate these upwards. So I'm going to bring these up like so. And I'm going to activate this in the matrix using the stepper modulating the cutoff of filter 1. And I'm going to bring this down because I'm already bringing the filter quite up using that cutoff that doesn't really ever go down. Or actually it goes down, but only goes down to there. And let's bring that down even further. Now let's not listen to completely dry sound. Let's bring in some delay and some reverb. Make sure that reverb is synced in time. Okay, cool. I'm gonna bring the cutoff a little bit higher. Cool. Now that sounds a little bit irritating, so we're gonna bring up the rest of these steps which control the cutoff. And the last one, I'm gonna select thirds to have syncopation. And if you guys notice here, I have a very small dipping inside all these curves. I'm just gonna speed this up at this point. Oh, and this one is a little bit different. Instead of this one being forward, we're gonna reverse it. So we have a little swoop in to the next step. All right, cool. So I'm going to continue with this. There's 2 more things I want to do to the sequence. As I want to bring down the third a little bit to give it some bounce. And I'm going to do this again to this one. This one doesn't need it. And I also want to go over to the ARP and increase the swing. So the swing is very, very easy to figure out. When you push it right, you're moving the second and fourth step and towards the right. And when you move this to the left, you're moving the first and the third step. It's very common to push it to the right because you want to keep your ones on beat most of the time. Okay, now we're going to finish up polishing the sound, bring the drive a little bit higher, increase the cutoff, and messing with the stepper. Hold on. Now to remedy all that harshness that I have in the sound, I'm going to push this a little bit higher. Okay, so if you notice, the sound is a little bit thinner than the original one, and that's because this stepper, it's a little bit lower than the original one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the matrix. I'm gonna push it up a little bit higher. If you see, this matrix is a little bit lower than this one, and you get a really close sound to the original one. Let's play the original one. Oh man, that sounds really liquid. So hold on. Let's do one more thing. Let's push that resonance up. There we go. It's just a matter of adjusting the filters. That first one still sounds really beautiful, but you guys get the idea. That's how it works. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.